Welcome, everybody. I appreciate you joining me today on the James Taylor Show. I was thinking a lot this morning. Obviously, today is Good Friday, or actually, it might not be released today, it might be released on Saturday, but today is Good Friday. And I was sort of thinking about, you know, like my religion and my beliefs. I'm thinking about Jesus, God. And I was thinking, like, what do you guys think I believe? Like, because obviously I talk about a few things. Obviously, I've made a few different kind of videos. I usually talk about like politics or reacting to things that are in the news or whatnot. Obviously, you've seen me do the video with my brother, which I hope you liked, by the way. The what was it 21 questions with push-ups? Obviously, I lost that, but he gave me fucking unfair. I feel like his questions were so unfair compared to mine. But listen, that's a different conversation for a different day. But I was thinking, like, have I ever like told you anything about myself? Because like I know I talk, and by this point, I think I've got. I don't know how many videos I've got, right? But I've got. Let's quickly check because I'm trying to work out how much content I've put on the internet. So I have. What's going on here? What do I have on my channel? I know for a fact I've got. Okay, I've got 40 videos. 40. This is video number 41 that is on this YouTube account. I've got some on Rumble, by the way, old ones, but you probably don't even want to watch them. Very bad quality. This isn't even good quality, but that is fucking pathetic. But okay, 40 videos. Let's just say each video is on average 25 minutes or something. We're talking about hours and hours and hours of footage of me talking, and I haven't really gone into detail about myself. So I thought today on Good Friday would be a good day to tell you my beliefs in terms of my, religious views. So first of all, I want to make something clear. I definitely believe in God and I believe in Jesus. However, I'm not sure that I can honestly say in good faith, tell you that I am a Christian or a Catholic. And I know this sounds crazy, but I think that is because I am a product of a generation that wasn't necessarily brought up in a religious environment. Now, that is one because of my family. My family is not necessarily religious, and religion was never pushed on me through my family in any way, shape, or form. I grew up going to school with a primary school in America. Primary school is like elementary / kindergarten. It's like kindergarten as well as elementary, right? So in my primary school, we did go to church and we said a prayer, I think, basically every day. And I guess I took to that a little bit, but not in the sense that I was like a God-fearing kid or anything. But I always had this belief that we were put here by a higher being, and that's not obviously. Look, that was before I knew about science, and after knowing a bit about, I'm not a fucking scientist, by the way, but I know basic stuff. And I still don't see evidence that we are a natural consequence of atoms and bacteria forming life that, through the course of evolution, developed into this. Homo sapiens, humans, man. I don't believe that. I do believe we were put here by a higher power, and I do believe that is God. I refer to the higher power as God. However, I don't see that because I've got a New Testament, right, and I've had Bibles since a kid. I've had Bibles, didn't really read them, only just sort of got back into reading the New Testament. And when I read it, I see it more as I see it as a truth, but I see it more as a guide for life. I see it as a book of lessons and sort of giving a definition of morality. It's almost, for me, it's like a guide on how to live your life. I'm not sure if I read a story about Jesus healing people, and do I believe it? yes, but at the same time, not necessarily. But I'll tell you one thing. I know for a fact that I do believe in God because I'm sure, like a lot of you guys, when things go bad and things are out of my control, and I know for a fact that they are out of my control, medical emergencies, stuff to do with other people, whatever, family, I pray. As I'm sure loads of people do. I genuinely pray. And when I do, I can tell you for a fact that I believe that somebody is listening and answering my prayers. Now, it could be that, I made some prayers before for things that were out of my control and things went my way. The odds of the outcome being in my favor in a lot of these situations was so slim that maybe the fact that my prayers were answered, or I believe that they're answered, is just what strengthens my belief in God. But I do think we were put here by a higher being, simply because I just look. I'm a guy who looks at odds, right? You're trying to predict the market, you're trying to predict the game in a fucking football match, casino, whatever. And I think about the odds that I am born on this planet at this time, with this technology, with this handsome face, like my family in the UK, as a man. I'm not saying being a man is better than woman. I think it is anyway. But like that can't be a coincidence. That can't be luck. That has to be God, surely. And by the way, I don't mean that like, oh, I'm better than everyone. I'm not saying it like that. I just mean, like, for me, like, the chance of being born healthy on an island, right, a country where there's no crazy bears running around, tigers, lions, this and that. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it has to be God. And I'm not going to start going down this evolutionary debunking thing, because I can't, honest to God, say that I am debunking anything. I'm just telling you what I believe. But I feel like God is not one thing alone, though. Like, some of you guys are probably laughing. You're probably thinking this guy's crazy. But, like, think about yourself. Like, do you guys ever think, truly, if there is a God, like, what do you picture? Do you picture a voice? Do you picture a body up in the stars, up in the sky, up in heaven? Like, by the way, I believe in heaven and I believe in hell, because I feel like there has to be some form of punishment and reward for good and bad people, or evil people. Right? Side note is, this is something I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen the movie American Psycho. If you've ever seen the movie, I encourage you to read the book. And there's a question in there that stuck with me as soon as I heard it, and it was: is evil something you are or something you do? Now, to me, I think it's something you are. I don't think you necessarily have to do evil to be evil, and I want to make that clear. But just going back to God, I picture our Creator, in my opinion, our Creator, I picture him as one person that belongs to a form of beings that are just much higher than us. And what I mean by that is, I don't think he's alone. I think that he is part of a you could call it species, you could call it beings, you could call it peoples, whatever. Like, I think he comes from a society just bigger and better than us in any way. You talk about higher power. I don't think that he's just this one-off. I think that I genuinely believe, because I believe in different life. Like, I guess you call it aliens, whatever the idea of aliens. I see aliens as the same way we are, just on other planets made by their own god. This probably doesn't make much sense, but I'm trying to articulate it to almost to myself, because sometimes I don't, you think about things and it's hard to really. Sometimes it's hard to know what you really believe and what are just ideas in your head. But I see it as like, I don't know if anybody, you guys ever had like space monkeys or whatever. and they would like this thing, like there's like in a packet, and you, like an ant's nest. Let's say I had an ant's nest, right? And they're just this. They've got this nest in my bedroom, whatever. That's what I see God with us. I see us as just like a project. I don't. I maybe project's the wrong word. Maybe project's the wrong word, but I see us as like an experiment. You know, I see it like because you think about, okay, well, people say, well, if there is a God, then why is there cancer? Why is there people dying? Why is there fucking rapists and murderers and child abusers or whatever? Like, and I'm with you on that, but I think that he sees it in a different way. I think he has put us here to examine us, to see. I think he's created something and he's just looking at it. He is just observing, and maybe he's proud of some people for behaving in certain ways, and he's disappointed in others, but I don't think he's there to intervene. Like, I don't think he's there to see someone committing. That's what I think heaven and hell's for. I think he is detached emotionally from our actions in terms of like playing out whatever we are here to do, whatever. Like, I believe in free will. People talk about, oh, it's God's plan. In my opinion, there is no God's plan. I don't think there is. I don't think God has a plan. I think that we are free thinkers who make decisions. Now, he might like some of the decisions certain people make and reward us with what I see as heaven and what Christians and Catholics see as heaven, and also hell for the people who don't deserve a good afterlife, right? But listen, that's my opinion. This probably just sounds like a crazy rant, but I woke up feeling different this morning. I get like that on sort of religious days, Christmas, Easter, Good Friday. I think differently. I start thinking and questioning things, and by the way, I'm not saying I have all the answers. I do when it comes to politics, but not this, not not the creator of the universe, if there is. I believe there is, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit and debate some. I mean, like, let's say, for example, some guy who's a Muslim or whatever, or Sikh or Buddhist. I'm not going to debate them. I mean, I guess I could try, but no one knows the truth. I guess we'll just see who's right at the end. Shit, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's nothing, and maybe we go into the ground and that's it, done. But I like to think that I'm right. It makes me, and even here's the thing: does it really matter if I'm right? Like, if I'm wrong, but I believe in God and therefore I act in a certain way, and I'm a better person, is that better for a society? In fact, does that mean he is real in a way? You've heard the saying, like, if you had, you got me and someone else, right? I've got a gun, I want money, you're there with £1 million, no one's looking, no cameras, no nothing, right? You've got me and you've got the exact same situation with somebody else or whatever. If I believe in God and I believe that killing is wrong, so I don't kill you and rob you, did God save your life? I don't know. That's a serious question. If God stops people acting badly when they easily could, without punishment here today on earth, does God save you? Again, I'm just asking questions. Just asking questions on a holy day, okay? But you guys make your own decision on that. I'm just gonna run over a few things. This is actually the reason I don't know what the caption on this video is going to be. I haven't decided yet, but here's a few things I wanted to talk about, because then I was thinking about Jesus, obviously Good Friday, and then I was thinking about the fact that Jesus was a Jew. I think, like, again, does anyone know the absolute truth? No, because different communities believe different things, right? I believe Jesus was a Jew. But I was thinking then about, like, the way Jews are viewed now. Israel-Palestine doesn't help. In all fairness, it doesn't help people's views on Jews because obviously some people, you know, some people will view the actions of a country's government and use that to label the entire, fucking race or all the people from that country a certain way, which is weird. But they do that with Jews, and Israelis, but they don't do that with no one sit here saying that all Germans are fucking Nazis. Interesting. But then go through Twitter every day. I'm sure you guys see, depending on your feed. But my feed feeds me a load of fucking anti-Jew shit. I don't know why. Probably because a lot of right wingers are anti-Jewish, right? And anti-Israeli. But I come across people. I'll name some people: Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, fucking Sneeko, Dan Bilzerian, Myron Gaines, who, by the way, I like Myron. And they're all anti-Jew. They're all anti-Jew as fuck. They fucking hate Jews and they hate Israelis. But I think it's retarded. But I think that they're flawed in many of their arguments. And I'm going to break down. I wrote some of these down. I'm going to break them down why I think I disagree. So a lot of these people say that Jews run the world. They say this, all of them, right? And again, Myron Gaines, Fresh and Fit, says this all the fucking time, and I disagree. And by the way, I like Myron. I met him in Arizona. He probably doesn't remember me because he probably meets so many people. But if he does, hi. And I agree with Myron on loads of things. A lot of his points on women, a lot of his points on, politics, yeah, cool. But when it comes to the Jews running the world thing, I just can't get behind that. And here's a few reasons why, right? So they say that, and a lot of these people do. These people say that Jews run the world, right? But they don't run Europe. That's a fucking fact. Everyone knows. Muslims run in Europe, or Arabs, whatever. They're in the background fucking running it. That is a fact, okay? They're the only, Arabs and Muslims are the only people you can't talk bad about in Europe. In the UK, you can't talk bad about them. Everyone knows. Israel definitely don't fucking own or run China. And they definitely don't own or run Africa or fucking Russia. Okay? And all the Middle East, you saying they run the Middle East? You saying they control the Saudis, the Qataris, the Emiratis? They can't. They can run America. This is the point. They say they run the world, but what they really mean is they run America. Which, by the way, if they're running America, how is it that they can run America, the biggest superpower on the planet? I don't even think anybody can debate that. If you're looking and you're measuring every single metric that would fit the criteria of a global superpower, you're saying they can run America. Jews and Israel run America, but they can't run fucking Iran? They can't even run Jordan or Turkey? Egypt? That's fucking crazy. They say, and by the way, I'll go into this real quick. They say that they're fucking running the world. They say that they're committing a genocide against Palestinians. But if that was true, then why aren't they all fucking dead? Well, it takes a year? Well, they say it's been genocide for years and years. It takes years and years and years for this country that is so strong and powerful and smart that they can fucking infiltrate and take over and own the United States of America, but they can't they struggle to commit a genocide against Palestinians? Which should be easy, because according to everybody, and I don't see why this would be wrong, it seems to be a fact that, well, not a majority, but a large percent of the Palestinian population are children. And Israel can't even, they can't even fucking kill them all and run it all? Oh, but they can run United States, right? And again, let's just look at it I'm just reading some facts. Let's just look at it logically, right? What's more likely? and maybe this is because a lot of Americans don't seem to, like, if you're American, you don't understand how powerful America is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't understand. Like, if you're not American, you look at America. Everyone knows it. They are the big dogs. Europe, England, we all know they're the fucking big dogs. But in America, they seem to think that they seem to see themselves as weak. They don't have confidence in their own government, which is weird, because they're the only reason that fucking the West is doing any good in any way, shape, or form. They're the only reason the West isn't completely destroyed is because of the United States. But either way, what's more likely, that Israel and the Jews are controlling America, or that Israel is America's fucking eyes, ears, and errand boy in the Middle East? Like, that seems a lot more likely to me. And then people say, oh, well, obviously, America is controlled by Jews in Israel because America has always defended Israel. Since they've always had Israel's back. They always stand up for Israel. Bruv, by that logic, the UK owns fucking America too. Because they've always had England's back. And I'm thankful for that. Like, think about it. Think about all the fucking wars within Europe that America got involved in. A lot of it's because of fucking England and Britain. Does that mean we run them now? And does that mean then that we're then owned by Israel, even though obviously that's not true? And then so essentially they can control America, right? But Iran is a threat to them? How does that work? Seriously, how does that work? Someone tell me that. And then they use this backwards logic, right? That the Jews are bad people because they'll use an example of some bad Jewish people, whether they're Israeli or not, and they'll say, look, these people are bad, and these people are fucking pedos or whatever, or rich, evil bankers or whatever, and they'll say that means that all the Jews are the same. But we don't do that with any other race, nor should we. Right? Like me personally, right? I think of like a fucking pedophile. I think of like some white guy. I don't think all white people are pedophiles. I think of a terrorist. I think of a fucking Muslim guy from Pakistan, or actually Pakistan. Okay, let's say Iran. But that doesn't mean that all terrorists are. I mean, that actually is overwhelmingly Muslim guys. But either way, you wouldn't attribute the whole fucking race of Arabs or whatever as terrorists, would you? You know, gang violence. You said, though, there was a gang shooter, and I'm picturing black guys. Sorry, but it's true. But that doesn't mean that all fucking black people are gang members, and it's just the same with the Jews. It's crazy. And then even if there was good things, right? Let's use the rich side, right? They say that Jews run America because all the billionaires are Jewish, or they say a lot of billionaires are Jewish. And if you think about the Jewish population in America, when you think of population per billionaire, the Jews are killing it. But you wouldn't attribute all Jewish people as smart entrepreneurs who are successful. No, because then that goes against your agenda that they're bad. Anyone disagree? I don't think so. And then you think about what's going on. Like, let's say Turkey, for example. Turkey, okay, fucking hate Israel, and they've been criticizing Israel all the time. As does Egypt, as does Jordan, as do parts of Lebanon. But does that mean why can't Israel beat them? Why can't Israel take them over? Yet they can infiltrate the United States? Fucking retarded. Fucking retarded. And I think what it is that people are against the Israel and Palestine fucking conflict, right? They have an issue with it, which is cool. You can have an issue with that. That's cool. I might disagree with you on some points, right? But then they use that to fuel their Jew hatred. And that is all it is. That is all it is. I'm sorry, but and that's, by the way, why a lot of people go down this fucking rabbit hole, realize that people don't want to come with them, and that's it. No one respects them anymore. And then they have to. Then all they have left is the audience of people that are against the fucking Jews too. So then they have to keep going. It's a spiral. You understand? Like, it's a circle of Jew hate. You have to go around, and there's no way off. Because if you leave that, you don't have an audience left. Because it's like the left. It's like the left with the crazy woke agenda. Right? Everyone who was on the left, they abandoned it and said, "You guys have gone too far. We're gone." So now that's all their voters. That is their crowd to appeal to, the woke side. And it's the exact same thing with these fucking right wingers or left wingers, but all these guys who hate the Jews, they're losing their original audience. So now they have to talk bad about the Jews, no matter what. No matter what. And then they make, and this is what's crazy, right? It leads them to make stupid points, backwards points that they don't attribute to any other nation or any other race of people. And this is a fucking fact, and I'll show you right now. Right, watch this. They will say that the land in Palestine doesn't belong to fucking Israel. Or the land in Israel doesn't belong to... They'll say that land, that region, and they'll say the Israelis stole it. And you say, okay, let's just say that they'll say, oh, the Jews have only been there since the 40s. And so, well, that's not true, because you guys believe in... A lot of the people who say this, by the way, are right-wing Christians. Right? And it's like, well, you guys claim to be Christians, which means you believe in the Bible, and in the Bible, it talks about Jews in fucking Israel fucking thousands of years ago. But let's just say that you were correct, which you're not, but let's just run with that. You could say that about every piece of land on the planet. You could say that about fucking everything. Right? You say, oh, well, that land wasn't intended for the Israelis, but you wouldn't say that about the United States. And by the way, I wouldn't say that about the United States either, but I'm not saying it's Israel. Okay, at one point, the UK was fucking, well, what we know as the UK now, right? But I'd say England, right? The fucking, the Danish Vikings came over. The fucking Vikings controlled England at one point. Can they come and ask for it back? What about all these empires? The British Empire. We had a lot of fucking land and controlled a lot. What about Mongolian Empire? Can they just come back? Oh, well, actually, no. Well, if you go back, technically we had this before you. Does no one understand anything about the fucking history of nations and borders, etc.? Borders change. By that logic, fucking Putin can take Ukraine and fucking Lithuania because of the Soviet Union. It's complete bullshit. But this is what it is. It's the derangement. The same people that have fucking Trump derangement. They get rid of all logic. Right? All logic. And they unfairly, right, attack him in the same way that they would not attack anybody else. And the same with the people that attack Israel, even though they would never attack their own country that way. Okay? It happens all the time. It's just derangement. You've got Trump derangement syndrome. You've got fucking Tate derangement syndrome. You've got fucking Jamie Carragher and Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo derangement syndrome. Okay? It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. And now I'm starting to see a little bit, and I think, okay, you've had this for a long, long time because you've always had neo-Nazis who, you know, the skinheads or whatever, who liked Hitler. But now what you have is a lot of people who, in basically all the other aspects of their ideologies, I would say are pretty smart and reasonable. But now these guys fucking love Hitler. And look, some of them are joking, some of them don't. Some of them will say, you know, jokes and they'll share memes and laugh like Hitler was a good guy or whatever, and they can relate to him. Obviously, everyone shares around that speech by Hitler that was translated into English about didn't bomb Paris and whatever, warned them 4 times or whatever. But still, a lot of people actually don't like. They like Hitler, or they say Hitler wasn't a bad guy, or Hitler had a point, and it's like, are you fucking retarded? And I'm talking to the English boys, American, fuck, I don't care, whatever. English guys, yeah. And I have a few friends that are like this, and I'm talking to you too. But it's like, you try to stick up or say Hitler's a good guy. He dropped bombs on this country. He led an army that killed British troops. Let's just run with the logic that he was correct. Even if he, and by the way, he wasn't. He was a fucking evil guy, right? Killed a lot of fucking Russians, millions of Jews, and a lot of fucking French people, Polish people, German people, Brits. Like, he fucking, maybe not him personally, but his army, which he gave the orders to, they fucking dropped bombs on London. I couldn't give a fuck if you were fucking Mother Teresa before that. You're enemy number 1 now. But the people, the issue is that the people don't respect the history of the countries that they live in, and they don't respect the fallen soldiers within their nation. That is why they will sit there and say that, oh, well, Hitler had a point and Hitler was right and the Jews are bad. But it's like, he dropped bombs on your fucking ancestors. And this nation, this country. Did you want to defend him? Fucking mentally retarded. That's all I have to say on that. But, listen guys, hopefully this video does well. Hopefully this video does well, guys. I'm going to make some more videos, but the truth is, I'm going live on TikTok and it's actually going half decent. I like doing debates. But if you like me, or if you don't like me, whatever, you disagree with this video, bro, message me and we'll debate on TikTok Live. We can go do it. I want to do it on my TikTok because I want to get the money for it. But if you want to pay me or whatever, or actually no, fuck it, don't even care about the money. As long as you tag me and we can do it on your channel either. That's cool. Okay. But listen, that's all for now. Just want to say happy Good Friday. Hopefully you all have a good weekend. Hopefully you think about the points I made at the beginning regarding religion and whatnot. Shit, maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. You want to talk to me about religion, evolution, whatever, cool. I'm happy to engage in conversations with anybody, okay? But listen, on that point, yeah, like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Thank you very much. Cheers.